Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hi, everybody. This is episode 51 of Kandrak and Cole, Inside Design. Today we're talking about the Highpoint Furniture Spring Market 2019 trends. We are so excited to be back from Highpoint, North Carolina. This is where we spent 3 days at the International Home Furnishings Market, and this is the largest furnishings trade show in the world.
It's really super impressive. We've talked about it on another show, but it's 10 million square feet. There's 2,000 exhibitors. There's 180 buildings, and we've walked a very good portion of them. There's 75,000 attendees, and it's held twice a year, April and October. Some years, many years, we've gone to both markets. Now we're kind of tired and we go to one market, but it's very impressive.
Yeah. So the kind of people that go, furniture store retailers, and now that things have changed, there's a lot of online retailers there looking for product as well. Interior designers, bloggers, buyers, and there's a lot of press there as well.
Yeah. So it's a great time for us because we see it is a huge reunion, and I think we probably lose at least 10% of, or maybe more, 20% of our productive time because we're walking down the street to another showroom and we see a friend from Texas or we see a friend from New York or, oh my God, how have you been? And,
yeah, it's like a reunion.
It's a big reunion. So there is a lot of social stuff to do, and it's not just traipsing through all these showrooms, but there's a lot of seminars. And the Highpoint Market Authority and Ashley Gregg, she does the most amazing job. They have so many seminars from talking about social media to product licensing and business practices. We went to one that was just pure entertainment. That was Carson Kressley, Tom Felicia, and Michelle Boyd from Atlanta. And it was a kind of a panel discussion about design. And I laughed for the entire hour. It was awesome.
That Carson Kressley, that guy is hilarious, so quick-witted and so funny.
It was awesome.
It was really great. It was a perfect time. It was on Saturday afternoon at like 3:30, and it was the perfect time to sit and take a break because we're in such concentration mode, trying to navigate where we want to be next, trying to make sure the showrooms are all near each other, taking photos, taking notes. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, we always make sure that we know where the good meals are, and there are plenty. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Many of the showrooms have the most amazing spreads to lure the buyers in. And then, of course, our social calendar is as big as our showroom to-do calendar because there's live music. There's everything from meatballs and moonshine to it goes
anything
on and
they
on.
can do to kind of get you in there, which is very smart because they're all vying for a lot of people there, and they need to get them in there. Four Hands has an amazing party. Surya has a big party.
There's just some where you got to get ready. But we are there to work, believe it or not. Yeah. So one thing that we're watching is our friend, many of them are style spotters. And this is something that Highpoint started years ago, and we've done it several years, where there are a group of designers. I think there's usually, I don't know how many, like 8 of them. And they are style spotting certain products and posting about the latest trends. So you can follow, if you go to Instagram or Pinterest and you follow the HPMKT, Highpoint Market, and you follow the style spotters, you can see all the things that they're going into all the showrooms, and they have these little kind of cardboard name things where it says, style spotted by, and it's a great way to highlight certain products.
So in a minute here, we're going to tell you all of the trends we saw, but our goal basically are a few things. We want to sit on as many sofas and chairs as possible. So we are 100% confident that we are providing comfort for our clients.
Because these days you can't, our clients, many of them come in and say, I've got to sit in what I buy, which is absolutely understandable. But honestly, where are you going to go sit in? Where are you going to go? I mean, there's just those big box stores and the boutique stores. They don't have a lot of product on their floors anymore. So we have to be able to say, oh, this pitches a little bit back. This sits deep. This is down. This is, to really talk about the comfort level. And
not only comfort level, I mean, we're looking closely at the quality of the finishes. Like we talked about, all about online furniture shopping. You really do not know until you put your eyes on something in person. And there are so many kind of wood finishes. Like Kelly and I have trained eyes now. I mean, we can pick out, a nasty finish very quickly and be able to tell. And there's
plenty of them.
Because we've seen so many thousands of products now that we can tell, and we know which manufacturers are really up on their game and who really have great quality. And so, like I said, we're taking thousands of pictures, notes, so we can remember our favorites, as well as, we're taking photos of new products and trends.
So we're there to see all of our vendors, and those relationships that we're maintaining are really important. And so it's important for us to go and visit them and keep that rapport going, but we're also always on the hunt for new vendors and new relationships. And we found several companies that we loved. And what's funny? A lot of the companies or manufacturers that are new to us, we go to because they have collaborated with one of our designer friends in a licensing agreement. So perfect example. We saw this company called Newport Cottages. They've been around for a long, long time. They're a family-owned business out of California. But our friends, John and Jason from Madcap Cottage, just did a licensing agreement with them and came out with these super cool beds and dressers and so forth. And so we stopped in and we got to talking to the owner, who is, believe it or not, his name is Pockets. And we just fell in love with the line. So we opened up an account, and we are working with them right now for our Kiowa project. And we probably wouldn't have gone in there if we weren't, if Madcap Cottage and John and Jason's colors and what they're known for hadn't drawn us in.
Yeah, so I really see a lot of times how the product licensing is really bringing new clients to these manufacturers, because they just don't.
They bring it all to life. We wouldn't have seen them otherwise.
Yep.
So
another thing that I love about Highpoint is because the showrooms are, really, really done up to the nines, to get people in there and for them to look good. Their displays and their vignettes for stylizing are so great. And that gives us kind of some inspiration how to put things together.
Yes. We learn a lot from that. We were looking at it was the Coastal Living Collection with Universal. And, right? And the stylizing, I wish they'd given props to whatever team did the stylizing, because it was so good and it made the furniture look so much better. Another time that we saw that was the showroom Alden Parks. This is another furniture line that we opened up an account with, and we are so excited to meet them and their team. But what they did was I don't know if their brand was kind of failing, or I'm sure it wasn't, but maybe they weren't getting the visitors that they wanted into their showroom. And so they partnered with several designers, and they had a show house in a showroom. So what they did was every room in their big showroom was designed by a different designer, like they would do a show house. So like to the nines, with just great accessorizing and art, and it brought the furniture of Alden Parks to life. And we paid so much attention to what they were selling, because everybody was like, oh, we'll go see our friends so and so and so. We had so many designer friends who were doing the showroom and a show house and a showroom, I thought that was brilliant marketing on their part.
Everybody was talking about that showroom. It was so colorful. And what was so nice is other designers were kind of sharing what they saw. So if we have a good friend who's Facebook, they were showing things from a certain showroom that we had never been in. It's like, oh, we need to go check them out. All right, let's get to the trends, because I know everybody's very excited. I have to say, the biggest takeaway, the thing that we saw almost everywhere, was rattan on furniture, lighting, wall art. That rattan look is huge and everywhere.
Wicker, woven, but in a fine way. Not, when you think of outdoor wicker, it's kind of fat and a little bit thick. This is more of a finer, woven, natural.
Very, very textured.
I thought the trends this year screamed. I don't know how you have 180 buildings and you've got tens of thousands of square feet, and these showrooms, I don't know if they're not talking to each other. There must be a trend report that comes out, years in advance, but the trends screamed this time. So we're going to go through them because we saw them over and over and over again.
Yeah. All right. So everybody I know is very excited to hear about the colors.
Yes.
Teal / like peacock, that kind of a color. Blush / pink, everywhere. And really pretty, and really, really pretty. Green, lots of green, which I know a lot of our friends saw that last market as well. Black and white, all over the place. And then I know everybody wants to know about gray. Gray wasn't gone, but there was less of it, and there were warmer tones of gray.
A little bit of tanny brown all mixed in, just like Sue Wadden with Sherwin-Williams told us when she was here. But I would say, of all of those, the blush, that very, very pale pink with a tiny bit of peach in it, everywhere, in the art, in the furniture, in the case goods. I mean, it was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, I don't know, I thought blush was like done, and it's so not. So not. So I was really excited about that. So furniture.
Okay, lots of wood grains. The cerused oak, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of a grainy sort of wood where you see all of the knots and things like that. It's really, really pretty. Shagreen, that is kind of a finish that is a shark or ray skin.
It looks like pebbled leather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Curves in furniture, which
lots of curves.
Last market, everybody told us that too.
Metal on wood. So metal and wood combined in all different ways. For example, you see a dresser and it's in a beautiful wood, but the corners of the dresser are encased in a stainless steel or a metal of some kind. And then that metal is repeated in the hardware. So we just saw some really innovative ways that the metal, and I think it's going back to this trend of natural, organic, earthy, but we saw it a lot in very refined ways.
Yeah. Now this is one of those things that we saw that we thought, okay, how is it that so many of these manufacturers have the same thing? And there were a lot of sectionals, everything very big and fluffy, but in the corners, there were tables kind of built into the sectionals. So let's just say normally you'd have a corner piece of a sectional. Instead, it was a big square table.
Yeah. So very modular.
Yeah.
You can move the pieces around. So for example, there's big ottomans that move. So maybe the ottoman becomes an ottoman, like a coffee table, or let's say it moves to the end of the sofa and becomes a chase. And so if you can imagine a sectional and you imagine the two pieces that are
the L,
that are against the corner, they don't have arms. So that imagine plucking out that corner piece and putting in a table that slides and right in
low,
and is level with the seat and becomes really a part of the sectional. It was just, it was cool. But it's very mod,
I thought. There were so many places that had it. Anyway, and lots of large sectionals, like we said. Acrylic.
Everywhere
very big still. And still upholstered headboards and panel beds. You'll still see some wood beds, but most of the time they are panel panel beds.
Because we have not done a custom bed skirt in, I would say, 4 years.
And I don't even want to.
Yeah, never again. Well, they're expensive and they collect dust. Yeah. So I thought of another thing about the sectionals. Oh, I lost it. Anyway, I'll think of it. But also lots of drink tables. Little accent.
Little martini tables, they call them. So wherever you're sitting, there's just a little table to set your drink down.
Oh, I know. It came to me. Customization. I think every company is trying to meet everybody's needs in the most creative ways. But the ones that we saw the most were sofas that come in what they call kind of a standard or a regular size, and then a grand. So if you say you have all tall kids or all tall people in your family, and you want your sofas to be a little bit deeper, the back's higher, just an overall bigger size, they gave those options.
Mm-hmm. Or then if you're in an apartment and smaller people, then you go with the more petite size.
Yes. And I also we saw many manufacturers coming out with I don't want to say a budget line, but like a lesser priced line that is in what they call a quick ship program. So a lesser price than normal, say sofa, they only come in, say, 3 different sizes in 5 different performance fabrics, and they ship out in 2 weeks. So
that screams to me that they know the competition that they have with the
online retailers,
catalog and online retailers, and that they are trying to find a way to still get the business. And I think their quality is much higher than some of these online sources.
I think it's a really smart idea from them, because I'd rather buy the lowest line from Vanguard than something from West Elm. Yeah, when it comes to upholstery, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is another one of these crazy things. So there's a lot of beautiful fabrics. Once again, I don't know why
all talked.
Whether it was a pillow manufacturer, whether it was on a ottoman, on a bench.
It was crazy.
It was called fawn. So
or antelope,
which is
I call it antelope. She calls it fawn, but
well, that was the name of it. The name of the fabric was called fawn, and it came in a bunch of different colors, but it's so beautiful everywhere.
If you think of a baby fawn, think of their back with all the little white freckles, and it's almost in stripes. And we saw it in navy, and we saw it in the actual fawn color, and we saw it in blush, on furniture, on pillows. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, I took pictures, and I think I have like 9 or so different products that have that on there.
Yes, really there it is again.
Okay, another big fabric. Mm-hmm. And this has just come out. We're going to be talking a lot about this because it's the answer to a lot of issues. It's called Inside Out. And it basically has all the same properties of Sunbrella, where you can, bleach it. It can be out in the sun. Has the properties of Krypton, where it's totally stain resistant. So this is a fabric that you can probably use anywhere, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of it out there.
It was one of those things we saw over and over again. We saw it at Tebow, and we saw it at Rowe, and we saw it at Vanguard, I think. Did Vanguard have Inside Out?
Yep.
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
But it was really everywhere. Our friends at Tebow were giving us a good little lesson that if you're going to put any kind of upholstery outside in the blazing Arizona sun for it to sit out there, that's Sunbrella. But really, for any other application in weather, Inside Out is the way to go. And it really addresses every performance issue that anybody might have. So it's an answer to lots of prayers.
Yeah,
so look for it.
I'm very excited.
If you go to a manufacturer and you're ordering something, ask if they have an Inside Out fabric as an option.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mohair, chenille, shearling.
Yes, lots.
So many things. But that shearling is clearly not a performance fabric.
No, but it looks so good with metal. It's so good. We saw it at Lee in a million chairs. Yeah. So yummy. That mohair is kind of, it's like it's hair, but it's softer. It looks like velvet, and then you get up on it, and it's a hair. I guess it sounds icky.
It's hair.
It's hair. It sounds icky, but it's good. It's good. And I love that. I guess it's a texture thing. And maybe it's because we're seeing so much neutral design, so much tone on tone, so much of that linen, cream, gray, mix that can't be done well unless there's tons and tons of texture that we saw these. And we still saw leather kind of mixed in everywhere.
Yeah, but there was a lot of color. Which is kind of exciting. And I think you're not wrong if you do an all neutral room, and you're not wrong if you do an all colorful room. Really, what's so nice is that it's all okay. And it's all out there.
And one thing that we didn't mention is kind of in terms of an overall aesthetic or trend was the global ethnic influence. Still everywhere. Things coming from our friends from around the world, from Morocco, from Guatemala, from things that are recycled and reused and repurposed. And there was a new company that we saw in Market Square called Urban Chic. Super cool, benches made out of old boxes that pull out drawers with a cool top cushion made out of an old piece of fabric that was amazing.
There's also a Sherwin. It was new. It was in a new location for them called Made Goods, and it was it was on the bank on Wren Street.
Yeah, an old bank
and
redone.
They redid it, and they have the vault still in there, and they had a little display in the vault, but they had things made out of oyster shells and anything that you could imagine.
Made Goods has the prettiest selection of mirrors I've ever seen in my life. How many do you think there were? Walls and walls and walls, floor to ceiling of mirrors. The most unique, beautiful mirrors.
Trays. I mean,
it was great, and it was cool to go down. They have a whole new outdoor section too, so it was cool to go down in the vault and see what they had. I want to say it felt like a quieter market. Sometimes the fall market's a little bit busier, but I felt it was good because it gave us time to breathe and gave us time to really spend some quality time with our reps. And like you said, take lots of notes and lots of photographs because they become our Bible when we get back here. It's like, oh, I need that. What was that swivel chair we sat in that was to die for, comfortable? Or what was that really cool coffee table that had like 3 different pieces and you could expand it to be absolutely huge or push it all in to be smaller? This research and development that we do. That
it's true though. It's really true because you can see things in a catalog, which we use a lot of times, but we've already kind of vetted the products that are in that catalog, or there are just certain companies that there's not one piece of upholstery that you're going to sit on that isn't going to be comfortable. And it's kind of tricky because we were at a very I guess I want to say maybe a higher end upholstery manufacturer and sat on everything and took notes. And then right next to them, we went to someone else who was not quite as, and I just can't believe the difference. Like you sit down, the chair's like clunk. And so they're good for certain things, but not others. And so that's why we're trying to just make sure that when we're specifying something, we feel 100% confident that we've looked at it, we've sat in it.
Well, and I think that when the more you know, the more complicated design gets in a little bit of ways because we come home from Highpoint armed with so much knowledge, and to sit down and work on a design and have a client, which just happened to me today, want to look at some options online and sending me pictures, and I just know I can just tell by looking at it that the quality and the comfort is totally compromised. And I want to make her happy and I want to meet her budget, but at the same time, I don't want to put my name on that. So we're in this predicament now as to interior designers where we want to work with the online retailers because some of them have incredible stuff, but it's not all good. When you
try to do a high-low, in all honesty, if I'm going to go on the low side, I don't want it to be in the upholstery.
Never. Let it be in some case goods or maybe some cool accessories from Home Goods or maybe even some art. You can find
But if there's any advice,
an emerging artist.
Don't cheap out on the upholstery.
Don't do it.
You're going to be sorry.
Yep. Comfort is everything, right?
Okay, so we have to talk a little bit about the fashion that was going on. And it's so funny because I can remember a few years ago when I had plantar fasciitis and I was going to be coming to Highpoint, and my foot doctor said, well, the best thing you should be wearing really is tennis shoes. And I was mortified. I'm like, I am not wearing tennis shoes with a dress. I don't want to be a designer. I don't want to be that person. Well, as it turns out, I would say 80% of the women were wearing tennis shoes, but not just your basic,
not Nikes, not Asics.
They were wearing either the slip-on kind of leather ones, and then this, which we just learned about, this brand called Golden Goose sneakers.
Of course, my kids were like, "Duh, Mom,
they knew.
Hello."
How come we never knew about this?
I love them. And the P448. All these funky lace-up sneakers that...
Well, they look beat up already. They looked beat up already.
Yeah, they did. They look awesome. Some platforms, some not. All different colors. Kind of Stan Smithish in a very funky way. I loved it.
Yeah,
and then I loved it.
Another crazy thing was this stripe down the pant leg.
Yes.
Which is something that just was everywhere. It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and the Gucci belts. What was up with the Gucci belts? If I saw two more G's interlocking on a belt, I was going to scream.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it was weird. We saw the same things in what everybody was wearing as we did in the showrooms.
Okay, I think that we might have two of the best quotes yet. I was so excited when I found these. Which one you want to do?
All right, well, I'll do the inspirational one because I think they're both great. All right, ready? Here, we're leaving you with a little inspiration for the end of the day. Beware of destination addiction. The idea that happiness is the next place, the next job, or even with the next partner. Until you give up that idea that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are.
So true.
So true in today's society.
Yep.
I love it.
It's the ride,
destination
not the
addiction.
destination.
That's right.
Yep.
Life is a journey.
Okay. Funny quote. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but I think it's just kind of funny. Okay. The funny quote is, I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm a trans slender.
See, this is totally me because in my head, I think I look a lot better than I do. And so when I find my kids know that I hate like store windows when we're walking by, and I'm like, oh dear God, surely that is not what I look like in real life because I have this much better vision in my head.
I identify like as a 25-year-old still. So I don't know.
Well, it's how we keep our energy level up. I can't get down in the dumps because my jeans are tight. Come on. Yeah. So I have to identify as trans slender. Come on.
Well, we hope we've given you some insight into what's kind of coming down the pike. A lot of these things you won't see until, maybe 6 months or so, but it's coming without a doubt.
Yes, and you heard it here. So we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.